The Chicago Sky suffer a collapse with the execution on the defensive side of the ball and a loss to the New York Liberty. And then on top of that, of course, we're getting the storylines about Angel Reese being ejected and what that means. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
Welcome to Chicago Sky Central, and here's your host, Haize.
What's going on, Sky fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Sky Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chicago Sky Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content. So the Chicago Sky suffer a 88-75 loss to the New York Liberty, and they had an opportunity in the fourth quarter to still come back in this game. They end up only scoring 9 points in the fourth quarter, the 23 by the New York Liberty. And that just is what it was. The Sky defense actually competed really well in this game against the New York Liberty, especially in the second and third quarters. The Chicago Sky scoring 33 points in the second quarter alone, and the New York Liberty only 18 points. And then in the third quarter, 18-16 in favor of the Chicago Sky. But ultimately, the Sky just did not execute well enough down the stretch of this game. Breanna Stewart went off for 33 points, going 4 of 25 from the field, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. And then you also had Sabrina Ionescu with 24 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals in that. But this was a game that came down to execution. And one of the teams, the New York Liberty, executed like they were a team that is going to be competing for a title this year. And the Chicago Sky left a lot to be desired. Kind of the mental things. I'm not even talking about the Angel Reese foul in this one, which I don't want it to go understated that Angel Reese still had a double-double in this game, even going only 3 of 12 from the field for 13 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, only 1 turnover, that 5 personal fouls. And we'll talk a little bit about how, the frustration in the game and things got to her. But, Marina Mabry, 15 points, Kennedy Carter off the bench. The Sky's game, the offense flowed so much differently when Kennedy Carter got in the game. She was aggressive right to start off in the first half. 16 points in this game, 2 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals as well. Kennedy Carter was all over the floor for the Chicago Sky, and you just got to love the energy and things that she brings to this team, and she's playing with a little bit more oomph now since the whole controversy with Caitlin Clark, and I hope that keeps going for the remainder of the season. A Kennedy Carter that plays like this off the bench for the Chicago Sky is more times than not going to change the pace and the outlook of the game, and that's what we need from Kennedy Carter. Diamond DeShields and Dana Evans left a lot to be desired in this game. 19 minutes from Diamond DeShields, only 4 points scored in that time. We need more from her. We know that she's still kind of acclimating, things like that. And Dana Evans going 1 of 7 from the field just ain't going to cut it, especially when you're not the type of point guard that sets other people up consistently. You can't have from Dana Evans 0 assists and only 4 points. You got to be better in one of those aspects of the game, does Dana Evans. E-Will, 10 and 8 from E-Will. Love to see that. Marina Mabry, 4 of 12 for those 15 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 3 turnovers as well from her. The Sky just got to execute better. And those sentiments were echoed throughout the game as well. Marina Mabry saying this after the game. You can't melt down against them. And at the end of the day, we melted down in the fourth quarter. And anytime you're going to play a team like this, you can't win like that. And, and that's true, right? And, it sucks, man. Breanna Stewart, 15 points in just the first quarter of this game. You knew that Stewie was going to have a big night once that came in. And, she almost scored and did what she wanted to with ease in a lot of ways against the Chicago Sky. We have to make the game more difficult on her without fouling on top of that. But the Chicago Sky are still very confident. And, they're a team that are now in the reality of what the season was going to be coming into them. While, some initial flashes and things like that against the Wings and the Liberty, the Sky are now facing the reality that they just have to be better, and they have not been good enough as of yet. And Kennedy Carter saying this after the game. These kind of games just make me kind of lock in on team stuff. We have a lot to get better, so I typically just focus on what I have to do when I come off the bench, but at the same time, I have to find a way to get us all on the same page. Sometimes we have a little slippage, and we can't do that, so my focus is not just on my play, but our play as a team, and that is what the Chicago Sky need. We talked about that a little bit in the pregame show yesterday. This team does not play as a team when the going gets tough for them. They default to kind of the strengths of the individual players. And like I said, hero ball isn't kind of the right word for it, but they do get into the individual one-on-one play. You need to play and execute as a team, especially against the type of games like against the New York Liberty. And the Sky just got to be better. That's just what it comes down to. The Sky have to be better. And, they got to find a way to do that where and when they can. And so, I wanted to talk about the game overall first. We'll get into the controversy, but these are things that I just need this team to tighten up on. We have the capability of being so much better than how we executed, especially last night. And for the Sky to be this team that they're going to go through their ups and downs, they're going to go through their struggles for sure. I don't want to act like this is a team that's going to come in and dominate. They can, especially defensively, set and dictate a tone of the game, but they're still going to have runs and droughts of scoring and things like that. And we got to find a way. We got to default back to playing as a team in those moments. 32% shooting from the field as a team yesterday, going 24 of 74 is not usually going to cut it. The fact that the Sky were in that game as much and as long as what they were with that and 28% shooting from three-point range, that does speak to the defense of this team. And this team does have the brand of defense where you can weather some bad offensive nights. But we got to find a way to be better and more consistent on the offensive side of the ball if we're really going to be a team that can be, above where people had us ranked in the power rankings ahead of the season. And, before we get into the controversy, also Camila Cardoso in her second game, only 12 minutes played in this game, 1 block, 1 point, 5 rebounds. But we know she's going to come along. And once that minute restriction is off of her, I'm not too worried about Camila Cardoso. I'm a little bit worried about us finding better ways to play in the post, right? But again, with having the terrible three-point shooting that we have, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. And so, we'll see if the Sky do something for that. Michaela Oniwerde did not play. Brianna Turner did not play. Kaiser did not play. And so, these are all players that have kind of had up and down seasons so far for the Chicago Sky, only 8 games in. So we're going to have to see how we tighten that up for sure as well. So let me know what your guys' thoughts overall on the game were. But then, of course, unfortunately, we got to talk about controversy. In the fourth quarter, with 2 minutes and 31 seconds left in the game, the Sky were down 82-71. Angel Reese got called for a loose ball foul on John Coyle Jones going after an offensive rebound. And, she talked some shit to the ref. And, apparently what she said is this is bullshit. And the ref teched her up and she got up out of there. Now, here's the thing. Angel Reese is a fiery competitor, and she's going to be fiery. I don't want to take that away from her. And yes, this is a mix as well. It's seeming like the referee not wanting to be shown up. This is not something that I like. You got to allow players to show emotion on the court. And considering some of the things that we've seen and that we've talked about with women calling each other bitches and stuff on the court, saying this is bullshit in a moment of passion where she was clearly frustrated by the way that the game has gone, I think that you got to give a little bit of space for that. And that's not just because she's a member of the Chicago Sky and she's on this team. I think that it has to be like you have to allow players to show some emotion. They are competing out there, and you can't take away that emotion. And a lot of fans kind of agree with that. There are some people as well who look at it and say, well, she did something and she got ejected. The ref made that decision. One of the people who has that is Marina Mabry, who's getting a lot of backlash. I'm not going to say if it's right or not, but she's getting a lot of backlash for her comments. But overall, I think that the fieriness and the passion that we see from Angel Reese, it isn't always just going to be in the PC ways. That passion and fire is going to come out. But we've seen that over the course of the WNBA overall. And I can get it if she got in the ref's face or something like that. That's not what happened here. And that's how some people are presented. And you can tell those are the people who didn't actually watch the game that are trying to talk about it as if Angel Reese went after a referee. That's not what happened. She was frustrated. Her team and her, in a lot of ways, were getting their asses kicked. And, it doesn't excuse it. Like, I wish that we can put everybody in this box and say, go out there, play basketball, let's just focus. But you got to allow for the human element. And so some of that, you got to kind of give away. People have even made comparisons to the fact of this when the time that Tim Duncan got kicked out of a game and things like this. Lonzo Ball, who was in, attendance, saying that that was weak that the ref threw him out, and even saying that he would pay the fine for Angel Reese, even though Angel Reese got the money to do it. But to be thrown out for a game, to say that's bullshit. Even Sabrina Ionescu speaking out against that. And so I do think that there's something here that the WNBA maybe needs to look at. I would hope that they rescind those technicals if given an opportunity to really review it, because yes, it was a moment of passion. Was it great? Was it the best way to display your frustration? No, I'm not saying that, but things are said way worse on the basketball court just in regular normal plays. I get it. At this point, it was said to a ref in a way, but like to get 2 texts for saying that's bullshit. I don't like it, man. That's just my personal opinion on it. You guys can take away from it what you will. Everybody's right to have their own opinion on this, but just in me looking at it, I just don't like it. I don't think that that's something that should have, like, give her a tech if you want to give her a tech, but 2 techs for saying that's bullshit and kick her out the game with that amount of time left. While like it's kind of distasteful for me, but people could say that it's also distasteful for Angel. But at this point, I'm sorry, I got to look at that and say, y'all got to stop being so fucking sensitive. Like, all jokes aside, like, I get it. Everybody has their right to their opinion on whether Angel Reese should have shown her emotion one way or not in that way, but I don't give a damn. A lot of the people who have this type of sayings and things on it ain't never competed for a goddamn thing in their lives. Like, this is sports. We say on the football, you know what we say to each other on the football field consistently? Things that would actually get us charged for some type of verbal assault. Like, it's just, you gotta allow players to have some emotions, man. Her double-double, I hate that it's kind of mirrored by a loss, and on top of that, her getting ejected. But Chi-Town Barbie is going to keep being the Chi-Town Barbie, and that's who she should be. That's going to come with some things, but it is what it is when it comes down to it. Now, before we go, though, I want to talk about the backlash that Marina Mabry's getting for her comments after the game, and I want to read this directly, saying this. She got ejected. She got 2 texts. She said something to the refs, and so whatever he felt like was the correct call is what he made. It's more about composure for us in our young years in the NBA. So you get to know refs, and they respond to things. I get what she's saying here, right? Saying that basically you're in the WNBA, you'll learn what refs are going to allow for certain things. That's the way that I took it. Now, of course, there's some backlash and kind of the more knee-jerky reaction fans that are saying, well, Marina Mabry doesn't like Angel Reese. Oh, she's never liked Angel Reese. You can tell, and that's bullshit. I'm sorry, that's stupid. If you look and you watch what this team does, Marina Mabry and Angel Reese are talking almost after every play. You can even see them in practices, over in the sidelines. They joke a lot. They talk a lot. I have no doubt that Angel Reese and Marina Mabry actually get along, and I wouldn't be surprised if Marina Mabry sees some of herself in Angel Reese, because Marina is also somebody who gets fiery hell. I've said on the last couple of times, she does allow the non-calls to get in her head some as well, and you can tell when she's getting frustrated out there. And Marina Mabry is somebody who is fiery. She does lose her composure sometimes. She does talk some shit out there, but she does it in a way that, and some I know some people are going to say, well, is it a race part that she doesn't get as many technical foul calls for it? I'm not going to get into that here. What I'm going to say is that I took this comment personally as a veteran saying we got to be better. Now, with that said, it's also who delivers the message, right? And that plays a part into it as well. And I'm sure people are looking at Marina, especially in a time where she didn't play the best either. She's coming off 2 games of not really playing well, and she is our leading scorer. We need her to play better. And I understand those frustrations there, but our frustrations in the play and in the player doesn't change it. I get it. Her choice of words wasn't necessarily the best here, and it left a lot of room to be desired. And you're not wrong for wanting somebody to stand up for the teammate and maybe say, hey, that's a little bit of bull, especially when somebody like Sabrina Ionescu says that she shouldn't, and she's not even on this team. So getting the 2 sides of that, and from your own teammate, from people looking the outside in, it's definitely going to feel away. And that's not to say that maybe Angel doesn't look at it and say, hey, what? And they probably will talk about it. Will they work it out? I'm sure that they will, but some of the narratives that I'm seeing from some Sky fans to say things like, oh, Marina never liked Angel Reese. You can tell she's jealous of Angel. Let's stop with it. Let's cut the cap. And I don't want to make this show every time we have to have a segment on telling people to cut the cap, but like we get it. Like, was this the best choice of words? No, it was not. Would I like to see teammates make that type of thing? I mean, she has to be honest with what her feelings are. But to me, I think Marina has to she has to be true to herself and whatever she feels. But if there are any ways that Angel feels about her or anybody else, they'll talk about it. They'll iron it out. But I don't think that this is any type of thing of saying Marina dislikes Angel Reese. I think that that's kind of more being knee-jerk reactionary. But overall, this team does have to keep their composure, and the team lost their composure as well. And if Marina's trying to step in as a leader, I would love for her to also talk about just the way, even outside of that ejection, The way that this team kind of fumbled it down the stretch of that game, and we got to be better in those situations and avenues. But guys, let me know as always what you guys think down below. Make sure you're following the show at Chicago Sky Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoSkyCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Sky. Or, hey, listen, I'll see you guys next time we go to Skytown. Let's get these dubs, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.